Hello, welcome to the Vikings Report. Let's take a look at today's latest news. But first, I ask for your help. Leave your like on this video. Many of you follow our content daily, but forget to click the like button. It's a simple, free gesture that helps us a lot. Now, enough of the chit-chat, let's go. Vikings free agency sends Bills' projected $26 million defensive back to Minnesota. The Minnesota Vikings have already made significant moves this offseason to strengthen their defense, especially at cornerback. Signing Byron Murphy Jr. to a 3-year contract and adding Isaiah Rodgers and Jeff Okudah were strategic moves to solidify the team's secondary. However, despite these moves, Minnesota's defense still needs additional reinforcements to become a truly competitive unit in the 2025 season. The team has Mekhi Blackmon, a third-round pick in the 2023 draft, as a key piece of the defensive rotation, but both he and Okudah are recovering from injuries. Rodgers, meanwhile, has had a more low-key role with the Philadelphia Eagles, raising questions about his ability to contribute immediately. Additionally, while Murphy is a reliable player, he doesn't quite fit the mold of a number one cornerback who can guard opposing top receivers. Rasul Douglas to the Vikings? A strategic move. With the uncertainty at the position, the Vikings could consider adding another veteran cornerback, either in the 2025 draft or in free agency. One name that has emerged as a potential target is former Buffalo Bills cornerback Rasul Douglas. Bleacher Report's Mo Moton suggested that General Manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah should look to Douglas to bolster his roster. Rasul Douglas has been a ball-catching cornerback and a big-play defender. Moton wrote, "The 30-year-old has recorded at least 3 interceptions in 4 of his 8 seasons. On the flip side, he's allowed a passer rating above 108.5 or 6 touchdowns in 4 of his last 7 campaigns. He could use a change of scenery. He's still capable of forcing turnovers, and that will help him command a decent salary. He's a prime candidate for a bounce-back year in 2025. Could Douglas be a viable option for Minnesota? While Douglas had an underwhelming season with Buffalo in 2024, his experience and ability to generate turnovers make him an attractive candidate for a short-term deal. The Vikings have taken this approach before, bringing in veterans like Shaq Griffin and Stephon Gilmore on 1-year deals to bolster their secondary. According to projections from Pro Football Focus, PFF, Douglas could sign a 2-year, $26.5 million contract as a free agent. However, given the current market, he could end up getting a more modest deal, similar to the contract the Vikings signed Gilmore to last year, a 1-year deal worth around $10 million with significant guarantees. Patience may be the Vikings' best strategy. Minnesota could take a cautious approach and wait until after the draft to make a move for Douglas. Players signed after April 29th do not count toward the NFL's 2026 compensatory draft pick formula, which could be a deciding factor for the team. Additionally, other options are still available on the market, including Asante Samuel Jr. and Stephon Gilmore himself, who could be a viable alternative if Douglas is not selected. With the offseason still underway, the Vikings need to carefully evaluate their options to bolster the defense without compromising the team's financial future. Should they opt to add a veteran cornerback, Rasul Douglas emerges as one of the most intriguing candidates, offering experience, rebounding potential, and the ability to generate turnovers, a crucial element for any competitive NFL defense. Breece Hall traded to Minnesota Vikings. Jets trade prediction reacts. The New York Jets have been one of the most disappointing and inconsistent franchises in the NFL in decades, along with the Cleveland Browns. The team has failed to make the playoffs since 2010, leaving fans with years of frustration. Last season was particularly chaotic, marked by unusual behind-the-scenes stories, including a quarterback with a lot of influence in the front office and a team owner making decisions based on Madden ratings. These factors have left the Jets in a position of uncertainty, even with a roster that has some promising names. Still, there is hope for the franchise in 2025, with talent like Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Quinnen Williams, as well as a young quarterback with potential. The Jets could be on the verge of a positive turnaround. However, an intriguing question arises. Would the team be willing to trade one of its key offensive pillars? Breece Hall to the Vikings, a realistic possibility? The Vikings are looking for answers to their running game, which has been one of the team's weak points in 2024. Despite ranking 19th in total rushing offense, the team performed poorly, finishing 23rd in yards per attempt. The inconsistent running game has hampered the team's offensive fluidity, increasing pressure on the passing game. To remedy this situation and ensure more stability at the running back position, Sterling Sierra of Pro Football Network raised the possibility of Minnesota making a trade for Breece Hall. According to him, such a move would have an immediate impact on the Vikings' offense. Hall has rebounded from a horrible start to finish strong, averaging 4.6 yards per carry over his last 9 games. He would also bring an appealing big play ability to a Vikings offense that ranked 23rd in explosive run rate last year. Only 10.7% of their rushing attempts gained 10-plus yards, Sia noted. Additionally, the arrival of a dynamic running back like Hall could ease pressure on rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy, providing more offensive balance and opening up opportunities for the passing game. Does a trade make sense for Minnesota? While the idea of acquiring Breece Hall is tempting for the Vikings, there are several obstacles that make such a deal unlikely. The first factor to consider is the franchise's draft capital. The Vikings currently have only 4 picks in the 2025 draft, which limits their options for making trades. Giving up valuable picks for a running back may not be the best strategy for a team that still needs to strengthen other areas of the roster, such as defense and defensive line. Another relevant point is the way Minnesota has structured its payroll and long-term planning. The franchise is financially committed to players like Justin Jefferson and key pieces in the trenches, which makes it difficult to invest heavily in a running back. Hall may be on the verge of a large contract extension, and the Vikings would hardly be willing to pay a high price for a player at that position. Additionally, the team already has Aaron Jones on the roster. While he is a talented player, his age and injury history raise questions about his durability to carry the offensive load all season long. However, if the Vikings believe Jones can be productive when healthy, adding another high-cost running back may be an unnecessary move. Bottom line, Hall to the Vikings? Unlikely. There is no doubt that Breece Hall would be a significant addition to the Vikings and would help address the team's struggles in the running game. However, financial challenges and a shortage of draft capital make such a move highly unlikely. Minnesota would have to give up valuable assets for a player who, in a few months, could command a hefty contract, something that does not fit the team's current model. Unless the Jets face an unexpected situation that forces them to trade Hall for an affordable price, the Vikings will likely continue to explore other options to bolster their running game without compromising their future. With the offseason still underway, it remains to be seen what decisions Minnesota will make to ensure a more balanced and competitive offense for the 2025 season.